Duke Eclipse presents the Horror Hideout Podcast, a podcast covering everything horror, including books, comics, and movies. Presented by Dawson Duke and Kayla Bullock.
Welcome back to the Horror Hideout.
Yes.
Every time we say that, I think of that from Save the Bell. The Hawaiian Hideout. Sorry, I'm old. So we are kind of changing things up.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing more themed months. We thought we've kind of been all over and touched on some of our favorite movies, but we've kind of decided it would be cool to do themes. So April is
disaster movies.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. Like natural disaster movies. May is going to be psychological thriller. June is serial killers, and July is sharks, and that is because of Shark Week on Discovery Channel. I thought it would be kind of a cool hand in hand. So we kind of have movies picked out, but if you have any suggestions that fall into those later categories, so psychological, serial killer, shark, let us know if you have a favorite one. I can tell you that Shark Month is going to be ridiculous. So
yeah, for sure.
Except for the book. The book is pretty good. So, but yeah. So today's episode is one of my favorite disaster movies.
The Day After Tomorrow. And next week we're going to do Geostorm. Right?
Yes.
Are we doing? When are we doing our book?
It's 3 movies and then a book.
Okay.
Because last week was our favorites.
Okay.
So is it 3 movies or 4?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
We've got it. Anyway, we've got a list.
Next week we're doing Geostorm is all I was trying to say.
Do you know what year that's from?
I have no idea.
Okay. It's a movie that Dawson has on DVD that neither one of us have seen, so it'd be ridiculous.
It's from like a disaster movie collection.
Yeah.
And none of the movies on there look like they're that great, but hopefully there's some fun times in them.
And there's another one on there called Into the Storm, which I wonder if it's not a ripoff of The Perfect Storm, so we'll see.
I don't even know what The Perfect Storm is.
It's a good one, but... So, The Day After Tomorrow stars Emmy Rossum. I don't know who the young guy is.
Either.
And then Dennis Quaid plays her dad.
Yes.
Or his dad, the main guy's dad. And again, Save the Bell.
The young guy he plays Mysterio in the MCU.
Okay. I didn't know that. He looked familiar, but I didn't know who he was.
Like Quentin Beck Mysterio.
Save the Bell again. Back to that. But do you remember that episode where they're having the sleepover and Zach and Screech bug Kelly's or Jesse's room?
Yes, yeah.
And somebody asked Kelly something, and she goes, "You know who's really a hunk? Dennis Quaid." And he plays the dad in this, and that was like my first thought. I don't know. Anyway,
you say that, and you say you're old, but I brought Save the Bell up before too.
That's true. But you probably don't like, oh, Dennis Quaid, he was mentioned in Save the Bell.
Well, maybe, but maybe not.
I'm gonna grow my own Screech in a jar. Anyway, I don't even remember the main kid's name, like in the movie.
Well, you remember me and my sisters used to fight over who gets to be the thimble in Monopoly because Screech says he calls the thimble in the show. No, I don't know.
So this movie came out in 2004. We should have known. It's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes,
plays Sam. So Sam's the main guy. Then we have Laura, and his dad is Jack, and then Lucy is Sam's mom.
Yes.
And of course, there's some other players in there, but those are kind of our main focus.
Yeah.
And so, Lucy and Jack are separated. Jack is a scientist. He teaches at a college, but he also does scientific type stuff.
Yeah, something to do with data on computers, right?
No, because he's the one that's out at the beginning, out in the Arctic.
Yeah, but Okay, yes, but he has a lot to do with models, showing models on computers of how things will come out.
That's true. Yeah.
But is he like a meteorologist?
They call him something else. It's something to do with dinosaur times, Lord, Paleozoic times.
Okay. But isn't he teaching about the Ice Age?
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Dinosaur Ice Age.
Yeah. No, I know. But I was just saying.
He's a climatologist.
Yes.
with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. And he's a professor.
And he seems to be pretty well respected in government, except for the vice president doesn't like him.
Yeah. And so the movie starts and him and two other guys are in, I'm assuming it's the Arctic. I don't know if they ever really say. It's somewhere really snowy.
Yeah.
And
either the Arctic or Antarctic, but I would guess Arctic.
They're actually digging, drilling down into the ice.
Yes.
And part of it breaks.
Yes. Like a gigantic fissure. Yeah. Like a cavern.
Yeah. And of course, you know, there, I don't know what, reports or whatever on the other side of the thing, so Jack has to jump over there and get him and come back. I did like, and I don't know his name either, but I did like the younger guy that was with him, because there's him and then his friend and then the younger kid that was with him.
Yeah.
He reminded me a lot of, I'm having trouble with names tonight, Riley from National Treasure.
Yeah,
he reminded me a lot of him, so I liked his character.
I don't know what it was about this movie, but when I was watching it, it kept making me want to watch Independence Day.
Meh, I could see that.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention that before we got too deep into this.
Yeah.
Sorry for the dog.
Had you seen it before?
This?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I've seen it multiple times.
I how good it was.
Yeah.
Like, it's been one of my, and I love Emmy Rossum. I mean, I've only ever really seen her in this, and then she plays Christine in the new Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah.
Which I think was about the same time as this movie.
I think so.
Which is one we should do at some point.
Which is funny because 2004 is the year I was born. Can you believe that?
Oh, make your mama feel old. So anyway. So then...
Is the first thing we see... Oh, are we still talking about people we meet?
We meet Sam, right?
Yes.
Next.
Yeah.
And Sam lives with his mom.
Yes.
And we find out that... I think I'm jumping ahead.
Maybe.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the first weather event we have is at the hail in Tokyo.
Are we there yet?
I don't know. We may not be. We may not be.
We saw Jack go back, and then he calls the mom.
We probably do.
Because he's complaining about Sam's grades.
Well, you keep talking, because... When did you watch the movie?
Just a couple days ago.
I watched it last week.
It might have been last week. No.
So
it was this past weekend we watched it.
You probably remember it better than I would.
But anyway, so Jack is back in the United States. He's back home. And he got a copy of Sam's report card in the mail, and he's called...
Is it math class that he's...
Yeah, he got an F in math. And so he calls his ex... I think they're still married.
Yeah, I don't know. They're separated.
Yeah, so he calls his wife and is kind of like, I'm disappointed, you know what happened, and she's like, well...
Are they actually separated, or do you think they're still together and they just don't see each other much?
I think they're separated.
Okay. Because that's what I got, but I wasn't quite...
Yeah. I kind of think with, like, when they tell each other they love each other later on, it was kind of like a... You know, like, kind of a rekindling moment.
Yeah. Trauma bond.
Yeah. So she tells Jack that Sam has to be at school at 8 o'clock in the morning, and she wanted to know if he could give Sam a ride.
Yes.
Because he's going with... I don't remember what they call it, but kind of like Scholastic Bowl.
That's what I was going to say.
Around here we have Scholastic Bowl,
yeah.
But well, they call it Mathletes in that one movie.
In Mean Girls.
Mean Girls. Yeah. But it's not just math.
I think it's academic something.
Yeah, maybe.
Academic scholars, or it's something fancy like that.
Academic Bowl. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Saved by the Bell.
Anyway, it's something like that.
We should have just made an episode about Saved by the Bell.
We should sometime.
But anyway,
I think we could do Close Encounters of the Nerd Kind as a horror thing.
And what about that one that was you guys' favorite?
The murder mystery.
Yeah.
What is that one called?
Murder Mystery Weekend.
Yeah, that one.
But so anyway,
we should have done that for April Fools.
We should have. That would have been funny. Next year. Totally lost my train of thought. So they're going to New York on this.
Yeah.
For this academic bowl thing. We're gonna call it academic bowl. So then we start seeing all these weird weather things that are going on.
Yeah. So we cut to Tokyo, and they're having gigantic hail.
And I just want to say this scene is like one of the coolest scenes in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because we're not talking like baseball sized hail. We're talking like basketball or football sized hail.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure we see it like crush part of a car, don't we?
Yeah.
Like a hood or a windshield or something.
And killing people. Like, it hits people in the head. And it's unexpected. They had no idea it was coming.
I think it's even kind of like as we're down here, there's kind of light coming up from above, and then it suddenly gets dark, and then all the hail starts falling. Like it's out of nowhere.
Yeah, and it's So then, what else do we see? Because I know we go to different.
I think that's the first one we see, and then we go back and follow people more a little bit, and then I don't know.
So Jack is giving a lecture about the climate stuff, and he basically says we're headed for another ice age, but he's predicting like I think 10,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
He's saying.
Did you know in real life we're actually overdue for an ice age? Yeah, we are. I don't remember exactly how many years it's supposed to be, but we're like 100 or a couple hundred years over when we were supposed to have our ice age.
How do they say that? How can they say that though?
They use models and what's happened in the past. Like we had a mini ice age. Like humans went through a mini ice age. With like I don't know what the London River is called. Is it just the London River? But it froze over. Like people were walking across it and stuff. Like it's scary.
Well, I'm not doubting that they can, but I'm just like, we don't have them often enough for you to be like every 30 years we're having the locusts come back. You know, it's not something, which that's 7 years, but it's not something where I could see you being able to pinpoint it really that I mean, maybe within 1,000 years or 500 or something, but down to the year I think would be a little harder.
I don't think it's down to the year. I think it's within a range, but I think we're past what the range was supposed to be. I don't know.
Interesting. I did not know that.
I'm not a climatologist.
You're not Jack Hall?
No.
Dennis Quaid.
But I don't know exactly when we see all this stuff, but like tornadoes start in Los Angeles at some point.
That is an insane scene.
Yes, because it takes up the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, and I mean it's not, and my husband used to live out in California, so I was asking him when we're watching it, like, because everybody's like, oh my gosh, there's tornadoes in California, and I guess that's really not common out there.
No, because where we live in like the tornado valley. Alley, yeah.
They've actually just moved it up to where we are, like, right in the middle of it.
And so we're used to, like, hearing about tornadoes and tornado sirens, but a lot of the stuff in California, their buildings are made to survive, like, earthquakes and hurricanes and that kind of thing. So all their buildings are built up to where they're on basically this structure that's really flexible. So whenever they have an earthquake and the building shakes, the foundation is flexible enough that it can take that with it. Which I'm not saying all the buildings there are like that or anything, but newer buildings, they started implementing those kinds of things. And it's kind of like shock absorbers in your car.
It's so weird to me with stuff like that, though, because, like, I used to have a friend that lived in Florida.
Yeah.
And hurricanes, the idea of all that water just scares the crap out of me. And they lived in a trailer. And she'd be like, nah, we're okay. We're fine. We got bottled water. And I'm like, no, you need to get out. Like, come back to Illinois. And she's like, yeah, but you have tornadoes. And I'm like, yes, but then if you think about it, with
a tornado is basically just a land hurricane.
With hurricanes, you usually have more notice than you do a tornado.
Yeah.
You know, so, but it's just weird to me. But anyway, we're talking massive tornadoes.
When Grandma and Grandpa lived in a trailer, their trailer got flipped over by a tornado.
Yeah. I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, Grandpa had to crawl across broken glass, and he is so glad he didn't cut himself at all.
Wow. That was a God thing.
I know, that's what he was talking about it at church. Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
So these tornadoes, it's not just one or two tornadoes.
I think they call them mega tornadoes or something.
Huge tornadoes, and there's several of them, all in Los Angeles. Is it Los Angeles?
Yes, because that's where the Hollywood sign is. And then they converge together.
Yes. But I thought it was so funny because there's a news reporter in a helicopter, which we talked about this with Age of Dinosaurs too.
Yes.
But there's a news reporter in the helicopter, and then there's a news reporter on the ground, and we kind of bounce back and forth between the two. But the lady in the helicopter says something about, oh my gosh, there's a reporter on the ground, like kind of making fun of him for being on the ground. Well, I'm not sure when it's a tornado. I mean, maybe an earthquake you'd be safer in a helicopter, but I'm not sure you are in a tornado. I mean, this has a really cool scene in it, though. Do you want to talk about the guy in the building?
Do you want to talk about it?
You can.
You seem excited.
I talked a lot, so.
So we get, it's like a guy is he like having an affair at his office or what?
Or
I don't even know if it's like a lab.
It looked to me like he was working and she came in there. Like he was supposed to be watching something. Like I don't know if it was security or what. I can't remember. And he had this lady in there, but then
they're kind of making out on a couch. Yeah. And I think the phone starts ringing.
Yeah.
And
I think he was in a newsroom.
Probably.
I think it was a newsroom.
That would make sense. But the phone starts ringing, and then does he pick it up or he just peeks out in the hallway?
No,
and
he picks it up.
Okay. Well, he ends up looking out in the hallway, and he just sees a janitor there with headphones on. Maybe before the phone rings, like the building shakes or something, and he checks out there.
He leaves that room and goes into the next room to get the phone.
Okay,
it's like the
that
newsroom is here, and they're in kind of like a lounge.
So anyway, the janitor has headphones on, so he can't hear anything that's going on. So he's just like cleaning with like a mop or something.
I think he's using a
waxer, yeah. And he goes to open a door, and when he does, the building's just gone. Yeah. Like the rest of the building is just gone.
Yeah, and so it's just like this building is cut in half.
It's just sheer, yeah.
And we actually see the tornado take out half of the building, and then the tornado dissipates, and that's the end of the tornadoes. Yeah. Like it's just, there's some really cool. Now, is it the best natural disaster movie out there? I'm sure it's not, but there's some really cool scenes in it.
I'd say it's probably the most well-known one, though.
You think so?
Yeah, I've heard people bring it up all the time, and it's kind of regarded as like a great film.
Yeah, I love it. I really do,
but is there another disaster movie you can think of that's this popular? I mean, I guess you could argue Sharknado, but that's...
I'm not sure that's in the same category.
No.
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, I'm genuinely, can you think of another disaster movie?
Storm that I mentioned earlier is a good one.
But see, I hadn't even heard of that. I don't know, I feel like this is kind of the quintessential, like if you're going to know a disaster movie, it's this one.
Well, I like this movie. But anyway, so we talked about the ice, we talked about the tornadoes.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a... No, that's later on.
Yeah. I think those are the two big ones we see.
So there's all these weather anomalies going on.
I think maybe at some point we also see it snowing somewhere it shouldn't be or something like that, but it's not as big of a thing.
Yeah. Where was it snowing at?
I don't remember.
But yes, you're right.
Yeah.
I think it was an Asian country.
Probably, because I think it had to be somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere, because like all this is happening in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, I think it was an Asian country.
It may have been.
I think. Anyway, so then it's the next morning, and Jack is actually at work.
Yes.
And remembers that he forgot about Sam.
Yeah.
So he goes and hurries up and gets Sam, and...
Sam is like, oh, I'll just take a taxi, it's not a big deal.
And the taxi's already there.
Yeah.
But so Jack's giving him a hard time about this F that he got in math class.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk. I am just rambling.
Jack ends up paying off the taxi driver and just ends up driving Sam. And they're in the car, and Jack is chewing Sam out, and Sam's like, you're not even going to ask for my side of the story first. And so then Sam starts telling his side of the story. And the math teacher flunked him because he didn't show his work on paper. And when the teacher asked him how he did it, he said, I did it in my head, but since the teacher couldn't do it in his head, he gave me a bad grade.
Yeah.
Which...
I think we've all had teachers like that, though.
I agree, but also, at the same time, I get where the teacher is coming from, because you need to show your work. And they emphasize that all through school when you're in math class, is that you need to show your work.
Why do I have to show you that 2 times 4 is 8 if I can do it in my head?
No.
I know. That was a very simple example, but, I always hated that. Algebra, I can do in my head all day long. Geometry, no, but...
No, I'm terrible at geometry. It's funny because me and you both hate geometry, and it's the thing that my little sister excels at. It's the best math thing
she didn't get that from me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so... He drops Jack off, and
Jack drops Sam off.
I'm sorry, Jack drops Sam off. And I think this whole scene is just kind of to develop that relationship that they don't have much of a relationship.
Because I think it kind of comes up with the conversation they're having, but Jack almost feels like he abandoned the family because he was out doing the research stuff, like when he was in the Arctic and stuff like that. Like he was away from his family so often that he didn't really get to see Sam grow up.
Well, and they talk about that later on when he's at Lucy's house. Yes. There's a picture, and he's like, "Where was this taken? I don't remember this." And she's like,
"It was Miami. You
weren't there."
Yeah. He was in like the other side of the world.
Yeah. So then, I believe Jack gets a phone call, right?
Yes.
About the weather changes.
Yeah.
And somewhere in all of this, and I know we're jumping around a lot, but the movie jumps around a lot at the beginning. We see
and
guys
honestly,
at a workstation, I think in the Arctic, and which I did not know this was a thing, and I think this is really cool. I guess they have different buoys in the oceans, and they monitor the temperature changes.
Yeah.
And one of them dropped 13. One of them off the east coast of the United States dropped 13 degrees, and so they just thought it was a fluke.
So
they thought there was something wrong with it.
Is it the Gulf Stream, or what is it?
Yeah.
The Gulf Stream in the water has to be a certain temperature, and it's where the freshwater and saltwater mixes together.
I did not know that.
They talk about it in the movie.
Oh.
So if I remember correctly, and I'm pretty sure this is what they say in the movie, but I may be misremembering, but it's like the freshwater from like offloading from like rivers in the United States, and then also from the melting like polar ice caps. That's where it's like a certain balance of the salt in that freshwater creates that strait that flows like from basically from the side of the United States down and then back around and up the side of like Europe or whatever's over there.
Yeah.
I'm not a geography person nor a geometry.
The two G's. Get those from your mama. Lack of skill.
But basically it's getting unbalanced. And so it's actually stopping from flowing.
At this point, they think it's just a fluke. Like, they think that this one buoy is broken.
Yes. But then a second one goes off, doesn't it?
A little bit later.
I thought we saw it here.
So, we see that because we meet the one guy that he's kissing his son goodbye and then he's going to this place. And then later on, when we meet the older guy, I hate that I can't remember anybody's name in this movie, the older professor, that's when he's the one that shows us that there's more than one.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why I remember that when we get to that part.
Okay.
So then Jack has a meeting with
the vice president of the United States.
And the vice president is kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
I don't really like him.
I don't know if he's so much a jerk or if he just... I don't know.
I think at the beginning he's a jerk.
I guess, but also, I mean, I'm sure that position puts you under a lot of stress. And I don't know... I mean, I don't know why I'm defending him. He's a fictional character, but I just mean, like, I think it's an accurate response some people have when they hear about bad stuff is going to come. It's that mentality of, oh, well, it's not going to happen to me.
Right.
Like, you leave your house and then you come back and it's broken into, and you always hear stories, but you never think it's going to be you.
Right. I guess, but I just didn't like him very well.
Yeah. Well, I don't really think you're supposed to.
So Jack is presenting, like, Jack has heard all of these...
Yeah.
All of these weather anomalies and everything that's going on, and so...
And I think they've run some simulations.
Yeah. Well, no, not yet.
Okay.
So he has basically told the vice president, we're looking at, I think he says 6 to 8 years for an ice age.
Yeah.
At this point, he's saying 6 to 8 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 10. I don't know. Anyway. And the vice president's like, no, I'm not, you're not, whatever, I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
But so Jack convinces somebody somewhere in the government to let him use their models.
Yes.
For 24 hours to run these simulations.
Yes.
So then I think we go back to the place in the Arctic, and the older professor guy is there. And this is why I remember, because he says something to the guys about the one beeping, and they're like, yeah, it did that the other day, and he rattles off the number of the buoy, and the guy's like, no, this is a different one.
Yeah.
And so then we see like 4 or 5 of them start flashing that they've had these big temperature changes.
And I don't know, again, I'm not like a climatologist or anything, or like study the ocean or anything like that, but I don't know, I wonder if it would actually happen that fast. I know the severe weather that we're going to talk about later would never happen that fast.
I don't know if that large of an ice chunk would... I mean, it was huge. It was a huge piece of ice, but compared to the size of the world's oceans, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't... I mean... And, which this is later on, we'll get into this, but like you said, it was... Well, no, that would make sense. Never mind. I'm thinking backward. Never mind. It does make sense. Never mind. But we also see Jack and Laura, and they're dang it, I keep doing that.
Sam and Laura.
And we find out that Sam likes Laura, and that's why he joined this
Scholastic Bowl.
Yeah, Scholastic Bowl. Academic Bowl. And so we actually see a little bit of their competition.
And I think they win because he comes up with a response.
Yeah. But
like
then,
last minute.
Yeah. But then a guy from another school comes up, and he's from New York, and he's talking to Laura.
And
so
like
we kind
flirting
of get,
with her.
yeah, we kind of get this,
alpha male.
Yeah. So then...
Is this where he invites them to like an after party?
I don't know if he invites them to the party. He invites them to his house later on, but that's because there's nowhere to stay.
Yeah.
But I think it was just kind of like everybody was because it was at the school.
Yeah.
So I think it was just kind of
But I think he brings it up here.
Maybe. Probably. And I liked him. I thought he was a good character.
Yeah.
Can't tell you his name, but I liked him.
And I do like... I feel like he kind of had a little bit of character development, too.
Yeah.
But anyway...
And I loved... What was their friend's name? I loved him.
I don't know. But... Yeah, like you said, Sam kind of has a thing for Laura. But it doesn't really seem like Laura's one way or the other with him. Because she kind of seems...
RJ is their friend.
Would you agree that she kind of seems equally as interested into the new guy as she does Sam?
I just kind of thought maybe she wasn't interested in either one of them as more than a friend. Like, at the beginning, I wonder if she just kind of came off as like, I don't know. Like, you've got a good friend
Yeah.
who's a girl, who I don't know if she's got other guy friends like you, but she doesn't look at you as a boyfriend type material.
Yeah.
And you don't look at her that way either, but
Yeah.
like, that's kind of the impression I got from her. Like, she just sees him as a good buddy.
Yeah. And I get that. I just didn't know from the female perspective.
I thought he was flirty with her. The new guy was flirty with her, but I don't think she really flirted too much back. But I don't know.
I don't know.
She just seemed innocent, and maybe that's because I like her so much in Phantom of the Opera that it kind of spills over into this character.
Well, I just meant because, like, when he's talking and stuff, she seems to be engaged with him and listening. But, I mean...
I don't know. But we know what happens.
Anyway, yeah, I think she's smart and stupid at the same time.
What?
I'll talk about it later.
Book smart but not street smart?
I don't know. We'll talk about it. So, yeah, so we see them, and I think they win their competition. And then I don't know if we see the after party right away.
I thought that's where they were at when he started talking to him.
I thought maybe so.
It really doesn't matter either way.
But anyway, they end up... I think they're having, like, bad rain.
It starts to snow, doesn't it? Not in New York.
On the plane ride to New York, they drove through a storm.
Right. But it's not snowing in New York, it's snowing farther south.
Yeah.
And they can't get home.
But it has been raining in New York since they got there.
Yeah.
Nonstop. And they've been there like 3 days or something. And so, he ends up, I think they need a place to stay.
Yeah.
And he ends up inviting them back to his house. So is this academic league or whatever, is it supposed to be like they're in college? Or high school? Because...
That's a good question.
I don't know. I wasn't in high school back in 2004.
I mean,
but
college makes more sense. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
College would make more sense.
That's what I was going to say. Because high school, I don't see the teachers letting you just slip off and stay with someone random.
Yeah. But see, I didn't get the impression that it was like an overnight trip.
But they say they've been there a few days.
Do they? See, I thought it was...
Maybe they just say that it hasn't stopped raining since we got here.
I thought it was like they were going and then coming back, but that was...
I don't know. I thought it was.
So,
I thought it was more of a competition, and I thought maybe there was more than one group they faced off against, and we just don't see the others. But I don't know that.
There
so
probably was.
I don't know. It's not super important.
Right. So they actually go back to he says it's his dad's place.
And his parents are out of town.
Yeah.
I think they're in another country or something.
I think
because
so.
they travel a lot.
Yeah.
But I think the reason they end up staying is because doesn't his dad call him and tell him just to stay? Or their plane is canceled or something.
I thought it started to snow, not in New York yet, but I thought it was snowing.
Okay.
Or raining so hard the planes couldn't take off.
That might be it.
Not just in New York, but like that whole area.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't.
Yeah, because the weather effects that we're talking about affect the whole northern hemisphere.
Because they talked about taking a cab, and they're like, yeah, no, cabs aren't going anywhere either.
Yeah.
So I think it has to be rain. It's not snow yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, they can't leave. They can't leave New York. And so
trapped in New York. They're trying to escape from New York. Aren't those both movies?
Mm-hmm. But do they find the gangs of New York?
Do they find Big Trouble in Little China?
You win. I can't think of any more.
Anyway,
do they go to the Central Park and have some coffee with their friends?
I got nothing.
It took me a while to come up with that one. So I actually think they do try to leave. They're looking for a cab.
Yes, and when they go down there, they leave the building, and when they go down there, the streets are flooded. Like,
and I want to say this too. Like, we are focusing on the kids right now, but we've got Jack, we've got Lucy works in the hospital. We haven't talked about that yet.
Yeah.
She's a nurse in the hospital. So we're focused on what's going on in New York, but we'll jump back to other stuff, but it may not be in chronological order.
Yeah, because in the actual in the movie we hop back and forth, but for us it's easier just to tell it as a linear story of each group.
Right.
And then when other things happen that involve all of them.
Yeah. So they're out looking for a cab, and a tsunami, I guess is what you'd call it, comes through New York.
Not yet.
I thought it did.
Well, it does, but they're looking for a cab, and because of all the rain, that's when the water's just there. Like, the streets are flooded, and it's like up past like the tires of the cab that's down there.
Oh, that's right.
And they like I don't know how much you actually know about cars, and I really don't know that much either, but I follow some mechanics on YouTube that talk about stuff, and they say a good way to measure if your car can make it through water is if it comes up to about half the width of your wheels, or like half the height of your wheels.
Huh.
So like if you go and measure with a stick, it should be it should be about half the height of your wheels. Anything higher, and you're going to get water in the engine, because
we're not suggesting you drive through any kind of overflowing water, though.
No. But because of like the air hoses in your car, if you drive through deep water gets into there and it shoots into the engine, and it'll break your car down.
Yeah.
And the water's like up past the tires, so like no one's going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's huge traffic jam, no one's moving, and they the doorman insists that they stay there, but Sam really wants to get back, and so they end up moving, and Sam says, well, we can't stay here, and they go to the library.
They're actually just walking past the library.
Yeah.
And there's a French woman and her child trapped in a car.
And a police officer's trying to help them out, but he can't understand what they're
French.
saying. And he's trying to tell them to stand back so he can bust out the window.
Yeah, because the water's so high on the car they can't get the doors open.
Yeah.
So this is when they're headed for the library.
Yeah.
Because he's like, we have to get to higher ground.
And is it... So they're all heading into the library when Laura sees like that commotion going on. So she turns around and she starts trudging through the water back to where the lady is and the cop is, and she cuts her leg open on a license plate.
Yeah. She's going back because she speaks French.
Yes. Which I think she's smart because she knows French and everything, and like she's on that team and all that stuff, but this is the stupidest thing in the movie. She does not tell anyone that she ripped her leg open.
She probably saw it as a lot bigger things going on.
I get that to an extent, but I think she could have told them.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing I see a lot in movies to drum up the drama, is someone will be hurt, they won't tell the other person. And it's such a stupid decision. I don't know why you would ever actually do that in real life.
I don't know.
Like, if I'm in a situation like that and I rip my leg open, I'm going to tell people. And I know part of it is like, oh, well, you had the adrenaline, so in the moment you don't realize how bad it is and all that stuff. But we have a big period of time between now when they actually find out she cut her leg.
Yeah. Yeah. But it also gets really cold. I'm defending her. I'm playing devil's advocate, but it also gets really cold, and sometimes you don't feel that kind of stuff if it's super cold.
But also on top of that, that water is disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're almost guaranteed an infection.
Yeah. So
And it's a pretty gnarly gash. It's not like she just chipped a fingernail.
Probably wouldn't have been so bad if she would have said something sooner. I'm not sure what they would have done, but they could have cleaned it or something.
Yeah. Well, even just rinsing it out with water, like clean water that's not dirty, helps a lot.
Yeah. I don't even want to think about what all was in that water. Oof.
Yeah, because it looks pretty brown.
So she translates and tells the lady in the car to get away from the window, and the cop breaks the window and gets her out.
Yeah.
Well, then we see the tsunami coming.
Yes.
And so they start toward the library.
And this is a really cool scene with the tsunami coming.
Yeah.
Because we can see it coming, but she doesn't see it coming. Yeah. And so she goes back to get the French lady's purse that she left in the car.
Because they're headed to the library, and the lady starts yelling about her purse.
And about this time is when Sam turns around and notices that she's not there and sees her over by the taxi. Because I think what's the other guy? Simon points her out.
Yeah.
So Sam goes back for her. So she ends up getting the purse, but she almost gets overtaken by the tsunami.
Yeah.
And her and Sam get in the library barely just in time as the tsunami comes through.
Which, of course, it's an action movie. We have to have barely surviving.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying about the leg thing. That's an action movie trope where someone will get hurt and they won't tell the other person.
And I thought it was silly that she went back for the lady's purse, but the lady was concerned about her passports being in there, which I understand, but again, the city's flooded. I'm not sure they're going to be too...
But that also kind of brings it back to the book smarts versus street smarts thing, where she's in this pressure situation and she's thinking more... She's not thinking as clearly, I would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true, but I don't know. It's a cool scene.
Yeah.
So...
My other question is, she rips her leg open, right? How did it not rip her pants?
Maybe it did. I don't know.
But I don't think we see that.
No, maybe. I don't know. Was she wearing pants?
Well, how else would she hide it?
Well, I was thinking like a skirt or something. I don't know.
I know, but how else would she hide the gash on her leg? I mean, if you're wearing a skirt and you walk in with a gash on your leg, people are going to notice.
Yeah, but a skirt would float in the water. Kind of. Like it would float up. So she cut her leg and then... But I don't think she's wearing a skirt.
I think she's wearing pants.
I don't know. She is, because they pull her pants leg up later.
That's what I thought. And even if the pants are a little bit pulled up, if it snagged on her leg, it's going to rip her pants too. Yeah. Like if it ripped her leg that bad, it's going to rip the pants too.
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Anyway, that's kind of nitpicky. But, they get in the library barely in time, and they close the doors, right? Like, right as the water pushes up against them or something, and it's very...
And one of my favorite characters in the book, in the movie, is a homeless guy.
Yes.
And he has a dog.
Yes. And we've seen some clips of him previously throughout.
Like, he tried to go in the...
I think it was the library.
Well, at first he tried to go in the building where they were staying at, I thought.
He didn't try to go inside. He was standing under the awning because it was raining.
Right.
And the doorman told him he couldn't stand there.
Right. So then he tried to go in the library, and they told him no, he couldn't come in because of his dog.
Yes.
But he ends up in the library with his dog anyway.
Yeah.
And I like him.
Because of the water.
He's probably my favorite.
Yeah. I agree. And again, it comes back to the street smarts versus, like, book smarts.
Right.
Because he tells Simon later on about you stuff your clothes with newspaper to keep warm.
Yeah.
And so they get in the library, and he asks Sam asks one of the workers there if they have a phone. And she says it's down in the lower levels that are flooded. So...
Did we see the boat yet? The boat came in yet, right?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Sometime around here. I mean, you could talk about it now.
So when the tsunami came in, it brought a cargo
An ocean
ship,
liner.
an
Yeah.
ocean liner, and it
Cargo ship's probably a better...
stuck right in front of the library.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking a huge ship.
Yeah.
So yeah, then you can go. But that's all I was gonna say about it right now.
Every time I hear ocean liner or like say it or whatever, it always just makes me think of the Polar Express.
I think of that like at Christmas time when we would come home. If you get off the interstate, our neighbors up here had all those Christmas lights.
Yeah.
And when we would be coming off the interstate, you could see it. And I was like, that ocean, all those lights that look like a, whatever he says, ocean liner or whatever. Their house made me think of that. So I want to jump back again before you go a little bit further about the phone. There's another... So again, we skip around a lot in this movie. It makes sense. It's got good flow.
Yeah.
But we've seen... I don't even know if it's like a zoo or an animal testing facility. I don't really know what this place is.
I think it's supposed to be a zoo.
Okay. And we see the animals once, well then when they're checking it again...
And all the animals are like riled up.
Yeah. And so when we see it again, the wolves are gone.
Yes.
So, anyway.
Like they escaped somehow.
Yeah.
Which, you know what that made me think of?
Zoo. That James Patterson...
Well, not exactly. But I've never read Zoo, the book, but I watched some of the show, and the show's really good. It's cool. But,
it's different than the book.
I Am Legend, where there's the tiger that's just free on the New York streets. It might be. I do think it's Lion now that we say that.
We should do,
we are going to at some point.
No, not that one. We should do the Ghost in the Darkness.
I don't know what that is.
The two lions, and it's actually based on a true story. It's two lions in Africa.
I just seen it.
They were killing a bunch of people. You've seen the actual lions. They're in the Chicago History Museum. We've been there.
Well, I haven't seen that movie.
Well, we need to watch it. Anyway, we are all over the place.
Yeah. We haven't recorded for a minute, so kind of scatterbrained.
Yeah, a little bit.
What?
So we've got the ocean liner. We've got the wolves that are loose. You were going to talk about the phone.
Yeah. So he wants to get a hold of...
Before you go into that, hang on. Nobody's cell phone's working. Nobody's radio's working. They have no way to get contact with the outside world.
And because... So I don't remember if it was a book I read or a movie I watched or what. But there's something like that where the main character's dad is like a city inspector or some kind of like inspector that like basically plans for worst case scenarios. So he knows all this random information about all these different things because his dad does that stuff. And so he knows about like what to do in like worst case scenarios. And Sam's kind of like that because of his dad. Like Jack has taught him all this stuff. Yeah. And so he knows that the phones in New York are set up, like the landlines are set up through a system where they'll still be working right now.
Payphones.
Yes.
Payphones are hardwired into the electric. They
Yes.
run through the electric lines, not the phone lines.
Which, if New York was flooding, I feel like they would shut the electrical grid down, don't you think?
As quick as it happened, probably not.
I guess.
I mean, unless you had somebody standing by to do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would think they would have some kind of emergency system in place.
I don't know.
I'm surprised we didn't see electrified water anywhere in this.
That's true. We lose electricity, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, a area of electrified water or something. And I don't know how that would work if there's electricity in the water with so much water everywhere. I don't know how big of an area would actually be affected by, like, the electricity.
But it's not water that long.
No.
So.
That's one thing. I didn't get a good, like, timeline of how long everything took. Like, I know it happens fast.
I was going to say, it seemed to me like it was pretty quick. But I know, like, they're in the library for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah,
I mean,
because they run out of food.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that,
but... So, where were we at? Oh, he goes down to get the phone. So he manages to swim down there, and I think he has Laura wait for him, doesn't he? Like, at the top of the stairs or whatever.
She volunteers to go with him.
Yeah. And so, as the water is rising and it's flooding, he manages to get a hold of his dad. And his dad's with his mom. right?
Yeah, because they're trying to get hold of Jack.
Yeah.
Or, dang it!
Sam.
So
he manages to talk to them for a minute, and his dad basically tells him to stay put because there's a freezing storm coming, and if anyone goes out in it, they will die.
Yes.
And then they get disconnected because the water gets too high.
Yes. And we think that Sam drowns.
Yeah, but I think Laura ends up pulling him out.
No, he just comes out.
Okay.
She's screaming for him and he comes out.
Okay. A lot of good that does. But,
I mean, she's already got the water funk. She could have jumped in there and saved him.
yeah. So do we want to cut back and talk about, like, what's going on with Jack right now?
You gotta stay with Bill on the brain.
I do.
Go ahead.
We brought it up enough times. So how does Jack end up back with the mom? Does he just go there?
Yeah. I think he goes over there. Because this is when we were talking about the picture.
Yeah. So, yeah, he asked about the picture in the Miami and all that. And then Sam calls. I don't remember if Sam was trying to call Jack or if he was trying to call his mom. I think it was his mom, though.
I think so.
But anyway, so, yeah. His computer diagram or whatever has gone through, and they thought they had, like you said...
6 to 8 months.
Yeah, but it's actually like 6 weeks.
Right.
So, like, that frozen storm is coming, and basically the Northern Hemisphere is screwed.
Yeah.
And they gotta get... I don't know if he says it right here, but he goes in front of people, in front of the government, like, actually in front of the president this time, and he draws a line about halfway through the United States and says, we need to evacuate everyone below this line, and everyone above is kind of a lost cause at the moment.
Right.
And the vice president is still against him until someone tells the vice president, hey, his son is in New York right now. Right. So he's not just like...
Right. Like, they basically think... I think, like, basically it's that the vice president's like, you don't have anything to lose. You're telling us basically to upset the whole nation for something you think is going to happen.
Yeah. But it's someone else that tells him that his son's in New York.
Yeah. I think it's the president. Or no, it's the guy that was with him at the beginning.
Yeah. I don't remember his name.
I'm terrible with names in this movie.
I'm just terrible at names in general, so never expect me to remember names. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much what's going on with him.
So in the library, we've got
the policeman, the French woman.
Yeah, we've got the homeless man with his dog. We've got the one kid is still with Laura, so there's Sam, Simon, Laura, and then the new guy, and some other random people, and then all of a sudden everything starts to freeze.
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Because maybe it is here. Yeah, I think you're right. The water freezes over. Right?
I'm pretty sure it is because Sam's really cold when it starts to freeze.
Mm-hmm.
And he just came out of that water.
Yeah, because there's like a moment he has with Laura.
Yeah. I
keep thinking I'm going to say her name wrong. Where he's like in his skivvies.
Yeah.
And she's like hugging him because like body heat warms him up. Which really, I'm not being gross, but really, if you're in that situation with someone, you want to get naked. You want to have as much skin contact as you can. I mean, not necessarily like actually naked, but like bra and underwear, like as little clothes as possible. It always makes me think of Deck the Halls.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was just thinking about. If you haven't seen that Christmas movie, go watch it. That is hilarious.
It is. It's
Danny DeVito and Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. They basically have a wiener measuring contest over who can have the biggest Christmas setup.
Yeah.
And it's Danny DeVito ends up what's the main guy?
Matthew Broderick?
Yeah. Matthew Broderick ends up falling through water, and then Danny DeVito like strips down naked and has to like hold him. It doesn't show anything.
No. But the reason that he falls through the water is Danny DeVito's fault.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a completely separate movie. But yeah, I did think of that. But so the police officer, since the water is now frozen over and you can walk on it, he argues that, and there's a bunch of people in the library, not just the people we mentioned. There's like a lot. I don't even know a good
like
range of
30,
number.
40
Yeah. And so there's like the woman that worked at the library that they talked to. There's one guy that's like a scholar. I don't know what he's actually who he's supposed to be or what he is supposed to have done. Yeah. I kind of got like lawyer vibes or something like that from him.
I got more like college professor vibes.
Yeah, it could be. Some kind of like an prestigious job. Yeah. Intellectual job is what I meant. But there's also there is the guy, the guard from the library there too, because he has a look with the guy with the dog, like a little.
Yeah.
And I do think it's really, this is going back, but I do think it's really sweet because whenever the homeless man and the dog first get in the library, the homeless man feeds like the last half of his hot dog to his dog.
Yeah.
And it's cute.
Yeah.
And spoilers, but the dog does not die in this movie.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
So
there's a whole website called
does the dog die?
Yeah.
So when we say that it freezes, it's like a pretty instant, like...
Yeah. Which, from what I've read...
Like, it starts outside and freezes, but then everything up to the room they're in, like even the inside of the doors freeze. But
that's not yet. That's not yet. Right now, it just freezes enough that they can walk on the water. And so, the police officer takes most of the people with him. And they end up leaving the library, while Sam is like screaming at them to stay, not to leave, because they're gonna freeze to death out there.
And the French lady goes with him, doesn't she?
No.
Oh, I thought she did.
No, she doesn't really have much more role in this movie, but you can see her in the background when they're in that room later.
I thought she left.
No. And the French lady's got a kid with her. I don't know if we said that. But, yeah, so most of them leave, and the French lady is one of the few that stays, and then we got the scholar guy. Does the lady that works at the library stay?
I don't think she does.
Isn't there...
Yes, she does.
I was going to say, isn't there another woman that stays, though?
There's the younger girl that gets into arguments with the intellectual guy.
Yeah. Is she the one that works at the library?
I don't think so. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Some people stay, some people go. It seems like most of them leave with the cop, though. But some of them listen to Sam because Sam he says, my dad is a climatologist and he called me and told me all this stuff. And so they head out, and then Sam asks, yeah, she does stay, because Sam asks her, do you guys have like a break room or something in here?
Oh, yeah,
or like a cafeteria? And she's like, all we have is the break room. So they go in there and they break through the vending machines, and they've got like Cheetos and Skittles to survive on. Which for how many people they have, maybe 8 or something like that. How many people stayed?
Probably something like that.
It won't last very long.
No.
And it's not really filling food. It's junk food. So they kind of...
This guy cracks me up because he's like, well, what about the trash cans? And they just kind of look at him and he's like, no, you can always find good things in the trash cans.
He says you can always find something to eat in the trash cans. Which really, if you need to, this is going to sound gross, but you can eat like paper and you can eat like the glue in the books. Like the binding glue. If you have to. Well, it's like, there's that Alone show that I've told you about that I like watching, and in that, like, the one guy that won the first season, what he survived from eating most of the time was just like seaweed that washed up, like, and he would just eat it raw most of the time. So there's lots of things you can eat that you don't think about, but yeah. So the freezing thing I don't think actually happens till after they get on the boat. So they find out her leg is like gangrened or whatever. It's infected. And so she needs... Is it insulin? No.
Antibiotic.
Yeah. It's penicillin.
Yeah.
Because they say the name specifically. And so...
Which, I want to back up for just a minute because before this, Sam's dad told him to make sure they had a fire going.
Yes.
And so we've got the librarian, and she's the one that tells them that she needs an antibiotic, and he says, how do you know that? And she says, well, books are good for things other than burning.
Yes.
And before that, when they go down to find books, the intellectual guy and the young girl are arguing because
over some philosopher.
I don't remember who it was, but so then Simon's like, hey guys, there's a whole section of something,
tax
law,
yeah,
books that we can burn. And so the intellectual guy, the whole rest of the movie, he's holding a copy of the Gutenberg Bible.
And they do burn some furniture and stuff too.
Yeah.
That's what they start with, which is smart because furniture is going to burn longer than books. But if books are all you have, you got to burn them. I know.
As we sit in my library, I'm like, no.
Well, and also I used to be a librarian, but I mean, you got to do what you can in the situation. But
I'll let y'all freeze.
So they end up finding out her leg. So Sam, the new guy that's with them, and is it Simon?
Yeah.
They end up deciding they're gonna head out and see if there's anything on the boat to salvage.
Yeah,
whether
Sam
it be
says
food
there
or
has to
medicine.
there has to be medicine.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. Is that something that they carry on all boats or something?
I guess as like a first aid kit, probably you would assume they would have one.
But penicillin, I don't think is necessarily like something you would just have on hand. I don't know
if maybe it was a certain kind of ship that we didn't catch because we don't know anything about ships. And I mean, when they get there, it's a big cabinet full of medicine, so maybe it was...
Well, and maybe if you're on the ocean for that long, you have to have, like, a medical bay on the ship.
Well, that's true, too.
I don't know.
Let us know if you know anything about ships, because we don't.
We are landlocked. So they end up deciding they're going to head out to the boat, but it's snowed, and I think it's still currently snowing. Like, I think it just kind of snows a lot. Like, the rain turned to snow. And so Sam breaks up some chairs and uses the back of them. I think they're almost like wicker chairs.
Yeah.
And uses the back of them as snowshoes.
Which I think is such a cool idea. Like,
yeah, I agree. Yeah. Well, that's like in Castaway whenever he makes like an axe out of an ice skate.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that either.
But what do they say? Like, limitations create innovation.
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard that.
Anyway, so they head out and they get on the boat and they're searching through and they end up finding food and the medicine. And the medicine's like all in German, but they find the penicillin because it says penicillin on it.
But I thought something cool they did here was, which I would have never thought of either, maybe in this situation I would have, but they used one of the blow-up lifeboats
to haul stuff.
To carry the supplies back to the library. And I thought that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you've got snow, so it's going to slide pretty easy.
I don't remember what the movie's called, but there's this movie where, like, all the water on Earth disappears, like, overnight. Like, in the oceans. And so there's, like, this family that were on this boat, and then everything disappears, so they're just, like, sitting on the sand out in the middle of the ocean. And it kind of reminded me of that. This part. But yeah, so they the whole time they're on the ship, we kind of get glimpses here and there of the wolves that escaped earlier. Which I'm guessing it's supposed to be like the zoo in New York. Like the New York Zoo or whatever.
Probably, yeah, that would make sense.
But anyway, the wolves get on the ship, and so Sam goes to distract them while the other two head back to the library. But somehow the new guy got hurt. One of the wolves bites his leg.
Yeah.
So now they have two people that...
I don't think they knew that the wolves were on there yet, and that's when we find out that they're on there.
Yeah, they left the door open. But they end up using don't they use the life raft to, like, get him out, or do they not?
Yeah, him and the food.
Yeah. Because I know they talked about it, but I can't remember if they actually end up doing it because of the wolves. But I think Sam ends up, like, doubling back and traps the wolves somewhere.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
He,
like, climbs on the outside of the ship, too.
They couldn't get in the room that had the medicine in it because it was locked, so he climbed out one ship window and in through the other one.
Yes.
And so then he...
Did he unlock the door from the inside?
Yeah, because he let the other guys in. So then I think he went back to the other room and got rid of the wolves that way.
Yeah, he ended up trapping them between two doors.
Yeah.
So they end up back at the library, and I think that's where we cut away from them. And that's kind of all we get of them for a while.
Probably.
So, back with Jack, he has decided that he is going to head out and retrieve Sam.
Yes.
He's kind of set everything up with the government to evacuate everyone and all that's going on, so he decides he's going to head up.
And they're going to evacuate to Mexico.
Yes. They, in exchange for forgiving...
Well, that's... At first, people are just flooding into
Yes.
Mexico, and then Mexico's like, nope, not doing it.
They shut down
and
their
then,
borders.
Later on, we find out...
The United States made a deal with Mexico to forgive all their debt if they let people in.
Right.
Which I don't understand how countries owing each other debt works, because if you go and look, it's like the U.S. owes Mexico this much money, but Mexico owes the U.S. this much money. So how...
And then the whole world's like $10 billion in debt. Who are we in debt to? The aliens?
Exactly. But like it's like if the United States owes Mexico $14 billion, and Mexico owes the United States $28 billion, why don't you just say, like...
Right, write it off.
Yeah.
Like,
I
would borrowed $100 from you, now you're borrowing $100 from me. I don't owe you $100 anymore, you don't owe me $100, we're good. Because it's government, government doesn't make sense a lot.
I know. But anyway,
So this is where we get the scene with Lucy and Jack, where because he says, I'm going to go get our son, and that's where they hug and say, I love you. Now, I want to talk about Lucy for a minute. So, I mentioned that Lucy is a nurse. She works in a hospital. I believe she works on the pediatric cancer ward, was the impression I got.
Yeah.
And there's a little boy on the ward who can't leave without an ambulance. And so, so she goes to work after Jack leaves, and when they evacuate everybody, somehow this little boy gets left behind, and they don't have an ambulance.
Because of all the, like, ruckus, basically.
Right. And so she stays with him.
Yeah, and the other nurse that's with her says, I called in and asked them for an ambulance. I'm going to leave.
Right. But she doesn't do it in, like, a mean way.
No.
And Lucy even tells her to go. So Lucy's hanging out in the hospital with this little boy who can't go anywhere without an ambulance.
Like, reading him his story.
Yeah.
And then an ambulance pulls up.
Well, that's later on.
Oh, yeah, but, I mean, if we're talking about it, we can just talk about it here.
I love this scene because the ambulance guy comes in and he's like, hey, we heard somebody needs a ride.
Yeah.
And she says something. He's like, well, we're not leaving anybody behind. And it was just like, so, because I expected her I thought her and the little boy were going to die.
Yeah. I think she says he can only be moved in an ambulance or something to the guy. And he's like, that's what he has.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, really good scenes.
Yeah. And when we first see it happen, I think they both fell asleep.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up and she just sees red and blue lights outside.
Yeah. So.
Maybe it's not red and blue, because that would probably be
like
police.
A flashy yellow looking thing. But anyway, very good scene in the movie. I loved it.
So, where were we with Jack?
He just decided he was leaving.
Yeah, so he decides he's leaving, and his younger friend...
He might have told Sam on the phone, like, stay there, I'm coming for you.
He did,
so I think we already knew that he was going to head that way.
But he ends up leaving with his two friends.
Yeah.
And are they driving a truck? Is that what they're driving?
I think so.
They drive a truck for a while until they can't anymore.
Yeah.
Then they trudge forward on foot.
Do we ever find out where they started from? Like,
I don't think so.
I can never pinpoint, like, even, like, before all the storm happened, like, where was home base for them?
Washington, D.C. is what I would guess. Because they talked to the president and all that. I'm guessing they're in Washington, D.C.
That would make sense, okay.
But I don't know if it's ever set or ever stated in the movie.
But that still makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's, I mean, it's still a good distance, but it's not that far from New York. Like, it's a feasible. Which they have a map at some point, so maybe you can see where they left from.
Maybe. I didn't look that close.
I didn't either. I didn't think about it.
Washington makes perfect sense, though.
D.C., not the state.
That'd be a long.
I know. Anyway, so him and his buddy and the older guy all head out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're heading north, and they get to where their truck can't go any further because I think they're on a road, and it's just like all these cars are stopped. And they're like buried in snow piles. And so they have to continue forward on foot. And they have, like, actual snowshoes and gear and, like, big coats and all that stuff, like Arctic gear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they would because
I know.
at the beginning
I know.
we saw them in the Arctic, so.
And even, like, professional climbing gear, like hooks and all that. And, like, the slides that you pull behind you for equipment.
Right. And I like that because if it was me and you, it's not feasible that we're going to have that stuff in a closet, but it makes sense for them to have it.
It would for Liv and Maddie. There's a episode where Parker and Joey always share a room, and they divide the room. Their mom tells them just divide your. I think their mom tells them just divide your room in half, and you each get half because they're fighting all the time. And so Parker says, "I picked the bottom half," to like kind of outsmart it. So then Joey gets a bunch of climbing gear and like hangs a tent from the roof and stuff. Yeah. One. And then Parker keeps putting stuff up to where it's too high, and Joey keeps knocking it over. Like he puts like a plastic or like a blow up palm tree and stuff in there, and Joey knocks it over.
I think I've seen that episode.
It doesn't matter, but I just thought about that. If you're bringing up Saved by the Bell, I got to bring up my childhood show.
Saved by the Bell was part of your childhood too, dang it, because I made it be part of it.
I know. But yeah, so they're heading out, and the scene that we get where they're walking across like the mall roof that's like a skylight is so scary. Because we know what they're on, because we get a shot where it pans over and we see the front where the snow has kind of drifted down. And so we see the front and we know they're on the roof of something, but they don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's how deep the snow is. Like, they have no idea.
Yeah, and so they're walking across glass. And, like, they see a street sign, and you have, like, no concept of where they are at the moment. It's, like, complete whiteness. And they see a street sign, and it's, like, Manhattan 500 miles or something, or however long it is. I don't think it's 500, but... they're walking across this...
And you kind of mentioned this, but just to touch on it, they are linked together with
like a sled behind them. Yeah.
Like climbing gear, whatever it is. Yeah. And
like,
then, so
like carabiners.
It's Jack, and then the younger guy, then the older guy, then the sled.
Yes. So the sled ends up breaking through, like, the skylight. Because I think it's kind of... It's not a dome, but it's, like, curved.
Yeah.
Like, it's curved down, and it's all glass. So the sled falls through, and it pulls the older guy through, and the younger guy barely manages to catch on to, like, one of the metal struts for the roof. So the older guy's like, I'm gonna have to cut our stuff. Like, I'm gonna have to cut the equipment. So he does, and so they're trying to get ready for, to pull him back up, and the younger guy, like, takes off his gloves and, like, puts his hands on the sides and, like, braces himself, and that, like, you can see the blood seeping out of his hands. And because it's like sharp metal and broken glass.
And the guy underneath can see that the glass he's laying on is cracking.
Yeah. And so the older guy that fell in ends up cutting himself. And I really like the way
cutting himself loose.
Yeah,
and,
sorry.
And
I really like the way the scene is shot, because we don't see him fall.
Right. Well, and that's what I want to say. We do see the sled fall, and it falls over, like... To me, it looked kind of like a beam that had fallen, maybe, or something.
It's
and
an
breaks
escalator.
In half. Oh, okay. And it breaks in half.
It hits, like, the railing of an escalator.
You kind of get the impression that that's where he landed, too.
Yeah.
But like you said, they don't show it.
No, we pan up, and I think we see the broken glass, and then we go through it, and we... Or, no, it's through the broken glass that we see the main... Jack's reaction.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful way to shoot it.
He has wiped off snow so he can see what's going on.
And that's such a beautiful way to shoot it.
Yeah.
So that happens. So the two guys end up moving on, and at some point the not Jack, but the other guy ends up passing out.
Yeah.
And so he ends up he's kind of just dragging him. I think he has another sled. Or is he just... No, I think he's just dragging him.
He's just dragging him.
And he sees a Wendy's. So he crawls in through the top of the Wendy's just in time. Because this is when the big ice storm is hitting.
Okay.
So, back at the library, when they're coming back in and the ice storm hits, they're, like, racing, and they barely make it into the room with the fireplace in time and shut in time for the ice to come over and, like, freeze the door shut. And we don't know if they survive here.
Yeah, and I think that was such a cool scene because it reminded me of something else in a different movie, but I can't tell you what. Oh, Frozen. Like, how her magic just kind of, like, starts, and that's kind of how it is on the doors. And I mean, everything freezes.
The first video I did on my long form channel, it's not up anymore because I took it down, but it was me talking about the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire movie when it came out. And there's a scene in that where the ice is spreading, and I mentioned how it felt like this scene in this movie where that happens, and I also used footage from this movie for it, where the ice is spreading through the city. But yeah, because even like later on, this is kind of spoiler, but like even later on we see the Statue of Liberty and she's like up to like her waist or something, or maybe even higher. Yeah,
all we can see is basically from her chest,
which of course brings to mind Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, and her torch.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing to think about with all that too is that I didn't really think about until you see like the Statue of Liberty there, is the water that's frozen is salt water. Do you know how hard it is to freeze salt water?
I never even thought about that.
Which it's probably diluted because there was so much fresh water flooding into it from the melting polar ice or whatever that they were talking about at the beginning. But even so, it's I mean, you got to be pretty cold to freeze salt water.
I never even thought about that.
Anyway, though,
this is why I love doing this, because you think about things I don't think about.
Well, and you think about things I don't think about a lot too, like where did they even come from? Like I didn't even think about that.
Where did who come from?
The people, when they're coming, like we said, probably Washington D.C. But I hadn't thought about that until you said something. Like it didn't even cross my mind to think about, well, where did they start from?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he barely makes it into the Wendy's in time, and like closes, does he close off the door or whatever to the place that he comes through? Because he comes through like a ceiling vent, because like so. Most of it's buried.
Well, and he throws the guy down too, because when the guy wakes up, he's got a knot on his head.
Yeah.
And they just have very good like friendship chemistry. Yeah. Like it's just, they're funny.
I think all the actors in this movie have really good chemistry.
Because even like we didn't touch on this, but Simon, there's a part where before the cop leaves, he's trying to fix this radio that he's got, and the cop says something about, do you need some help? Or maybe it's the homeless guy.
No, it's the cop.
It says, do you need some help with that? And the guy's like, I'm president of the chess club and
AV
this
club,
and that and all that. And he says, if you can find a bigger nerd, go ahead.
Yeah.
The guy's like, yeah, I'll just leave you to it.
And one thing about this movie is, well, I mean, really two things about this movie. It does not feel like there's any filler in this movie. Like, it doesn't feel like anything needs cut out. But at the same time, there's so many points of this movie that just give you a second to breathe.
Yeah.
Like, when they're just, like, trudging through the snow and stuff, it gives you a second to breathe, but it doesn't feel like an unnecessary scene.
And we've talked about this before on here, where there's some movies where you jump around so much that sometimes you're like,
yeah,
you just gave me whiplash.
That's how the Saw movies get, where it's like you get a flashback and then you have a flashback in a flashback, and like
right. And see, to me, this movie's not like that. Like there are a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning with all the like the hailstorm and the tornadoes and all of that, but it flows so well that it doesn't feel like you're being, pulled into different directions to try to figure out what's going on.
And the whole thesis of this movie, which, I don't know, maybe I should talk about this at the end instead, but the whole thesis of the movie is kind of like mankind will prevail. Like, humanity will keep on chugging on. And I think this movie balances that so well through, like, the family dynamics and through the friendship dynamics and, like, all this. Like, I think it balances everything so well. And, like, people being willing to sacrifice themselves to help other people.
Yeah.
Because, like, the people we talked about in the research station with the boys, or the buoys, however you want to say it, they like stay.
Yeah.
Like they stay behind, they know they're gonna die, and they talk about how they know it's too late to leave, but they stayed behind so they could relay information to people.
Well, we didn't finish talking about them. They actually, one of the guys goes over and is like, do you think we could use this for fuel? And it's whiskey or scotch maybe. Yeah. And so
he's like, no, that's 16 years old, you don't use that for fuel. Yeah. And then he like moves a book and there's shot glasses back there.
And it's the older professor guy, so. And that was kind of a cool relationship between Jack and that professor too. We didn't touch on it much, but that was kind of a cool.
Well, and another thing I want to mention before we get to like the real like climax and ending of this movie is we didn't really mention the ISS people, but we keep cutting back to these people that are on the International Space Station, floating above the Earth. And
these are some of the coolest scenes in this movie.
Yeah, because they're in the zero gravity floating around and stuff, but they like see the storm forming and then they see it like continuing and they see where the eye of the storm is and stuff, and then later on later on at the end of the movie they make a comment about, I've never seen it this clear before.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool, and it's something that I've thought about a lot, and I thought about even writing like a horror short story about people that are caught on the ISS after like an apocalypse happens on Earth, because like if something happened down here, they're stuck up there.
Right.
And like
I actually was thinking about that during the movie. Like, are they going to be able to land? Because they land in.
Yeah.
I think it mostly out of Seattle, isn't it?
I don't know, probably.
Maybe Florida.
Somewhere. Well, there's that one place near Chincoteague, but I don't know what all they do there.
Yeah, but I mean, most of their places are on the water.
Yeah.
So first of all, would you have anywhere to land? And second of all, do you have to have like somebody on Earth telling you where, like, kind of directing you back to where you need to go?
I don't know though, because it is the International Space Station, so I don't know if they'd have places to land in other countries.
Well, that's true too.
Because I know there's like they put Russian astronauts and stuff on there, but I mean Russia's also in the northern hemisphere, but I'm sure there's some southern hemisphere country that has people up there.
I don't know. But I was thinking about that during the movie. I'm like, are they? Yeah. Did they just stay up there and starve to death?
Which I don't know. I think it's in a book I read, and it's just a casual mention, and it's what originally sparked the idea in my head of like writing a short story where people are stuck on the ISS. But I don't remember what book it is. But there was some apocalypse book I was reading where they just casually mention that the International Space Station came to Earth at some point, like it just happened, and it's just kind of a casual thing that's kind of a throwaway line in that book, but it kind of stuck with me because it's like, do you know how scary that would be? Like you don't have anyone on Earth you can talk to, and you're just stuck up there, like you can't.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
I couldn't be up there anyway.
Yeah.
No.
But
But this is some of the coolest views, and there are really cool scenes in this movie. But this, like seeing the Earth from their point of view, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And again, this movie is well balanced. Like those scenes don't feel out of place or like weird or anything. And everything is just so interconnected. Like the people on the ISS are relaying information to people on Earth and stuff like that.
Right.
So, I think this is like kind of going back on stuff we already talked about, but I think when they're on the boat and they're getting supplies, Sam realizes they're in the eye of the storm.
Yes, he does, and he's like, we have to get back now.
Yeah. And so that's when they rush back and get in there and stuff. So
I'm assuming, like, because the eye of the storm is the calm, is what I've always been told.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, like, the first half of the storm was calmer with the rain and a little bit of snow, and then the second half was where we've got the freezing temperatures. And
I think both were freezing, but I do think the second half was worse, but I don't know how realistic that is.
I don't either.
Because I think that it's about the same amount of forcefulness both ways. I think, like...
Well, I didn't mean forcefulness. I just meant, like, it seems like the first half was the rain and the water, and then we switched to snow and freezing, kind of as...
Yeah. But I would think that, like, when you're at the edge of the storm, at the edge of the eye of the storm, that's the worst of it. That's the absolute worst of it. That would be where it would be coldest and all that. I would think. Because I would think the edges... No. So, I mean, they say it's like a hurricane on land.
Yeah.
It made me think of... did you ever read The K?
No.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
Spoilers for it, if you haven't read that book, but near the end of the book, when they're like on the K, and the older gentleman protects the younger gentleman through like a hurricane, and they survive the first half, like and then they're in the eye of the storm, and then the second half comes, and he talks about like the difference between like how loud it was and all this stuff and how calm it is now, and that's what I always think of whenever I hear the eye of the storm or see things like that, is that scene from that book. And that book is just a very impactful book. But
so if you've ever been through anything like this, like obviously not this, but like a hurricane or anything,
or a tornado
with the eye of that storm, let us know how it was. Like, did it get worse for the second half? Or is there really a second half because it's turning the whole time? You know what I mean? I mean, I know there's a second half, but if you look at maps, when there's like weather maps, they're always kind of like looping around themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe this was just because it was the situation in this movie. But,
yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know.
Anyway. So yeah, they're back in the library.
Yeah.
And they've given her antibiotics, and she's getting better.
And so, back with Jack and the other guy that's left, I don't remember his name, but so they have like a GPS that tells them where they're at. So they walk past the Statue of Liberty, presumably moving over from New Jersey to New York.
So before you go back to Jack, so we had the police officer and his group of people that left the library, and we skipped over this part because there's just so many moving parts in this movie. But they actually had stopped over an overpass for a break. Under an overpass for a break.
And they're like by a fire barrel, and it brings back to it brought back to me the police officer telling the homeless man, "You can't come in here."
Right.
Or no, because it wasn't him, but it was one of the people. But anyway, it brought to mind like the whole like homeless thing, like you can't be here, and now they're in a homeless person spot, like, and they're using the barrel that presumably a homeless person pulled there to use as a fire to keep warm.
But when the cop goes to get everybody moving again, there's 2 people who passed away.
And I think it's like a couple, and they're like sleeping on the edge of the overpass.
Yeah.
Or like,
and I mean, Sam
underneath the overpass, but like near the edge of.
And Sam had told them they weren't going to survive the storm if they left. So then as Jack and I think is it after? Is he walking?
I think it's after the Wendy's.
So Jack and his friend actually walk past a sign. I think it says "Welcome to New York."
Yeah.
And we see, and you see them, but not like fully like dead bodies see them.
Yeah.
But you can tell that it's the group of people that had left the library.
And they're like frozen, like icicle frozen.
And they had only made it to the edge of New York.
Yeah. So they keep going, and they've got that GPS that's telling them where to go, and they get to the coordinates of the library, and there's nothing. It's just snow all around. I think you can see some of the skyscrapers and stuff in the background, but like where they're at is just like a field of white.
Yeah. And the younger guy's got the GPS, and he tells Jack, he's like, the library should be right here. I'm so sorry.
And it's kind of like a hill. Well, he runs up, and he's like, I can't believe this. And he runs up, and we see the other side of the hill, and just barely the front of the library with some of the windows is sticking out.
So there's a balcony at the library that we didn't talk about, but the guy and his dog go out there. And he's the one that kind of sees the ice coming in.
Yeah.
So even that, I mean, they're pretty high up in the library at that point, and even that is, it's like the very top windows of the library where you can see.
And I'm assuming it's on the side where the wind wouldn't be blowing.
Yeah, I would think so.
But anyway, so they end up slipping through those windows, and they find everyone alive and well.
And I think this is... Like, okay, I'm not for burning books. Like, I think that's terrible. And, like, I mean, if it came down to it and we had to, because it was a choice between freezing to death or burning my books, I'd burn my books. But I'm sorry. I love you all. But, like, it bugs me that they did that in the movie. Yeah. Because it's like, I can't imagine, like, and you worked in a library, so you know what I mean. Like, to look at all of this and be like, this is people's life works. This is, you know.
Well, in my thing about it, too...
It's such a cool concept that they were in a library.
My thing about it, too, though, and I don't know, maybe it's treated to where it won't burn very well, but why would you not go for, like, the shelves and stuff first? Are the shelves not wood in there?
I think, honestly, I looked at it as the books were easier.
That's true.
Because you were in such a hurry to get, like... Yeah. I mean, in here we could knock shelves over and take the shelves, but my first thought would be grab the books and go.
Well, your shelves are also easier because they're just like crates.
Yeah, but I mean, my first thought would be take the books because they're going to burn and you don't have to, it wouldn't take as much time.
Yeah, and it's easier to get a fire started on books than it would be, like paper, than it would be to, wood.
Probably not my crates, but, so they find everybody in the library.
Yes.
And I don't remember how Jack gets a hold of...
I don't know if they send out a signal or what, or if he just knew. I think maybe so the vice president is down in Mexico, and he finds out that the president died on the way there. Their Air One went down, I think is what they say. Right?
I thought it was a motorcade.
Yes, I think that's what it is. Anyway, the president didn't make it, so the vice president is now the president. And so he sends helicopters up north because he says he got news from Jack that he found his family.
Yes.
But I don't think they say how he got in contact with him. But I'm assuming he had a satellite phone or something if he had the GPS.
That's true. And I love this scene of the movie because as they get in the helicopter, so it's Sam and Laura and Simon and Jack and Jack's friend are all in one helicopter. Yes. And as they're pulling up to fly away, all of these other groups of people start coming out of all these other buildings.
And we see all these other helicopters flying around.
And it was just like...
the dominating human spirit.
Like, it was just so cool that, you know, here they are holed up in the library and we're focused on them, but then there's all these other groups of people coming out.
And I think it would have been cool to see some of those other... Not, like, I'm not saying, like, oh, this movie's amazing. Yeah. And I don't really have many notes on it. But, like, just the idea of seeing these other people's stories and knowing what happened with them would also be so cool.
But I can also see, like, being in New York, they went through the same thing. There was the flood.
No, I get that.
But I'm not like, and even, but other places in the world, it might, it would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like
more with Tokyo after the hail happened.
Said hail, like, when we say it was hail, it was like huge, like chunks of ice falling from the sky, and it didn't even
like basketball. That long. Yeah.
But what other
weather anomalies
were there that we didn't see?
Or focus more, like, there's just so much you could do, but I like what they did with it. But it would be interesting to see some of the effects of the other ones, like more on the ground stuff with the tornadoes in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Or Los Angeles, yeah.
But like you mentioned, we did see it take out the Hollywood sign. Yes. We saw half the one building get taken. So before we get into more of that, so at the very end of the movie, we see them in Mexico and they're reunited with Laura. And that's how the movie ends.
Yes.
Not Laura.
The mom.
Lucy.
Yeah.
You know the only thing that bothered me about this movie, though?
Huh.
Where was the little boy's parents? Like, if it was you in a hospital, not speaking that over you, but if it was one of my kids in a hospital like that, and they're like, you gotta evacuate, I would have been like, figure out how he can go, because...
Maybe they died in one of the waves of the weather.
Well, that's true.
I mean, again, it's one of those things that we've talked about before, where you can make up reasons, but there's no reason given in the movie, so we don't really know.
But even the other 2 times or 3 times we see him before there's even the storm, he's by himself.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's probably my only complaint, because I'm like, my little kid would not be.
Yeah.
Which, I understand something like that, you can't be there 24/7. I get it. I mean, but anyway.
See, and again, that's like something I didn't even think of.
It's because you're not a parent yet.
I know. Nor do I ever plan on being.
You're breaking my mama heart.
You've got 2 other kids.
Yeah, but... they both say no. Oldest one says never. Youngest one says never.
I don't know about that.
It's alright. I'll just spoil my sister's grandbabies.
But, so that's pretty much the movie.
So, I haven't seen this movie for a long time until I watched it the other night. And I always, like, I know it's one of my favorite movies, but I always forget how much I love this movie and how good it is.
And even, like, I've seen it a few times before, but there's scenes you don't remember that come back to you when you watch it. Like the scene with the janitor in the building and all that. Like, there's stuff like that it happens in the movie, but you don't really remember that.
Because it's not really, like, I remembered Jack, and I remembered Sam and Laura. I remembered that, like, the main, but the tornadoes and the hail. Yeah. It was kind of like watching a new movie again.
I know. Well, and that's, okay, this is, like, completely different, but the SpongeBob movie, I always forget about the part at the beginning with the pirates, and then the part where they're in Shell City, and we go back and we see the pirates in the theater. I always forget that's even in there, like, that's in the movie. Because that just doesn't stick with me out of the rest of the movie. And it kind of reminded me of that, where it's like, oh, I completely forgot this was in here. And it's not because it's bad or anything, it's just...
Yeah.
You forget.
Yeah.
Like, I forgot how much it focused on, like you said, like, it shows the hail, and it shows, like, the tornadoes and stuff. I forgot about some of that stuff.
Yeah. And probably my only gripe other than his parents, my only gripe with this movie is the wolves showing up on the boat at that exact second when they're on the boat was a little far-fetched.
I don't know.
I mean, of all the places in New York, of all the boats in the world, you had to end up in mine. You probably have no idea what that's a reference to, do you?
No.
Casablanca.
I haven't seen that.
But it's all something about, like, all the bars in the world.
But, wolves can hear very far. They have very good noses. The world is frozen. No one's out right now. they're going to go towards the only source of smell and sound they feel or hear.
Well, that's true.
And if they were at like the Central Park Zoo or whatever it is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They would still be in that area. I don't know how close the library is to that zoo. But, I mean, it's in that area, I assume. So, I mean, if that's the source of sound you hear, and you're a wolf and you're hungry, that's what you're going to go towards.
That's true. Fine.
And again, I don't really know how much time passed. Because I don't think a wound like that would get bad within, a day. I think it would take a minute.
I thought at one point they said they were there 3 or 4 days.
That's what I thought, too. Because they talk about how they're running out of food.
It's 1.2 miles from the zoo to the library.
So that's not very far.
Mm-mm.
So, I think that makes sense.
Okay, fine.
I'm
just trying to find things to pick apart. Because I like the movie.
The one thing I pick apart about it is her cutting her leg and not telling anyone. Because even later on when they're getting books off the shelves, she winces and the other girl says something to her and she says, "Oh, I just hurt my leg the other day."
But do you think that was just an unselfish thing? She didn't want them to worry about her with so much bigger thing. I understand your point of view, but
yes,
she didn't want them to worry about her with everything else going on.
Yes, but not addressing it is going to turn it into a bigger issue for everyone.
Well, I know. I agree.
If you're ever in a survival situation where you get hurt and there's other people, tell the other people you're hurt. Don't hide it because it's going to lead to worse outcomes for you and them in the future.
Use mullein leaves on it. Or comfrey if it's not infected.
There you go.
Get you some herb lessons in there. All right. Well, do you have any?
And I don't know how good this is, but what I've seen people do with that kind of stuff is they chew it into a pulp and then they put it on there.
So mullein, yes. Comfrey, no. Don't use comfrey.
Why?
Comfrey's good if it's not infected or if it's clean, but it's such a good healer for wounds that if it's infected or if there's dirt in there, it seals it so fast. It seals all that in.
Yeah.
So, but seriously, mullein. You can do that. You just chew it up and put it on a wound, sting, bite, whatever.
Do they call it a poultice?
Poultice.
Yeah.
Poultice, yeah. So the mullein's really good. I could go on forever about finding things like that. That's a totally different podcast. But yeah, so any last thoughts on Day?
It's good.
It is.
It's probably going to be the best disaster movie we cover, to be honest.
Probably by far. But yeah, we will see you next time. We're going to be doing Geostorm first, right?
Yeah. And then Into the Storm?
Yes.
And I don't know years.
We don't know anything about these movies. We've not seen them. So it may end up being both of them next time because they both suck. So.
Yeah, we'll see.
We will see you next time.
Yep.